Sure, and we've heard of bad actors, Senator, at the FBI years ago regarding Russia and Trump and stuff like that. But those people were fired years ago. Yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, Mike Pence, who was up in New Hampshire, he called on the attacks on the FBI to stop. He was reminding the New Hampshire Republican Party there that the Republican Party is the party of law and order, and Republicans stand with the men and women who serve at the federal and state level. And he said the attacks on the FBI must stop.
But part of a democratic republic like we have is allowing dissent and having discussion over government behavior. So, for example, Christopher Wray came to my committee, and I asked him, is it appropriate? Does it meet the constitutional standard to use a foreign intelligence warrant on a domestic politician such as Trump, on an American? And I indicated to him that I think it's a lower standard because a FISA warrant only requires that you say probable cause to have a connection to a foreign country or a foreign government, whereas the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution says probable cause of a crime. Right. So I think that a FISA warrant has a lower standard. And Christopher Wray's response to me, and this is the current head of the FBI, was it's no big deal. He thinks it's fine to use FISA or foreign intelligence warrants on Americans. And a lot of people think that's true. I don't. But this is part of the abuse. But this is part of the same people who are still running the FBI. They have a different understanding, maybe, of what they think the FBI can and cannot be done and how it should be used on Americans. But I'm going to require proof that there was actually some sort of probable cause of a crime, and I'm suspicious that there was not.
Well, and Senator, absolutely, Congress has oversight over the FBI and the Department of Justice and everything else. The problem is, over the last week or so, there's been so much violent rhetoric directed at the FBI, and I heard somebody printed FBI stands for Fascist Bureau of Investigation or something like that. And unfortunately now, the people who work at the FBI headquarters, there are death threats and all sorts of stuff. I heard from a staff member there who was talking to a colleague at the FBI, and the colleague realized, oh, look, I'm wearing the wrong shoes today to work, because if somebody comes and attacks the building and I've got to run, I can't run in these heels. So unfortunately, people at the FBI are caught in the crosshair.
Yeah, I think the death threats are obviously inappropriate and not the way to go around it. As far as investigating the FBI through the congressional process, through the political process, the problem is that the people in charge of Congress, the Democrats, have not been interested in or curious in investigating anything. We had 1 million people die from COVID, and we haven't had one hearing on the origin. We finally did about a couple of weeks ago. I insisted on a hearing, and then the Democrats didn't come to my hearing. So the thing is, there's been a lack of curiosity on the part of investigation, but there's no excuse for threats to the FBI. And the thing is look, they're not the only ones getting threats. I've had probably over 50 threats this year. I sometimes can have a dozen in a week. We have my address posted online. We have people that are wishing me ill will, wishing me, injury all the time. So all of the threats are wrong from the right or the left.